Good morning, Rabbi Eli. Okay, you can do it. We're here in a very private location by our very good friend Moshie Horn's basement. Thank you for having us. They asked us, the organizers of the big siyum tomorrow, they asked us that we shouldn't do any shiurim in the tri-state area because people come to the shiurim, might not come to the siyum, and they want the biggest turnout possible. So all 5 of you here better show up at the siyum. Yishkoich for having us. Yishkoich for coming and supporting. So in only 2 days we're starting masechta ksuvas. And I have to give you the update, the daily update, running into ksubas. 687 people signed up, new people signed up to Masechta Ksubas, and we're hoping to get to 1,000. I don't know how we're going to do it. How are we going to get to 1,000? Rabbi said we need help. 2 days. We got to push. Every single guy that you get to come to learn Torah, you share in their Torah. And just today, in this interview, I'm not going to tell you, I was interviewed in a certain place. You'll see it Be'ezer Hashem next week. I mentioned Nachi Gordon, who's one of the 5 people here today. I mentioned him in the interview because I said, you don't understand the zechus that Nachi has. Yes, I had this interview. You can't imagine how many people came over to me and said, I started this year because I saw you are meaningful people. It's in the hundreds. I'm not kidding. The amount of emails and feedback. Nachi gets to share in every one of those people that started learning Torah and is learning Torah, even if he himself might not be doing the daf today. He was doing it. He just fell off like some of the people fell off during Yevamos. He gets to share in those chlusim. So you can also, yes, you don't have that platform that you're out there and 30,000 people are going to hear your interview, whatever it is. But you have your friends, you have the people, and you get one guy, one neighbor, one guy in shul. You share in those chlusim. What else do I want to?
No sound. I don't know why. I'm gonna check right now.
Who's no sound?
We're not doing Zoom.
But is this recording sound?
I don't know.
Well, it's a big problem. How about the cameras? The camera recording? Okay, that's good. I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry.
No sound. Checking out.
Okay, so tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem, in Bellworks, right? That's the name of the place? Bellworks. 1,235 tickets sold. Nachi, you coming? To Bellworks tomorrow. Again, put him on the spot. You understand this number? 1,235. And that's without all the people that are going to come to the door and all the people that are going to sign up today and tomorrow. So there might be 1,500 people dancing and celebrating and meeting each other for the first time. You're going to meet all the characters, all the this and the that, the people from the mishpacha. It's going to be incredible, unbelievable atmosphere. So I very highly encourage everybody to come out there.
No sound the same.
Okay. We'll start. We'll do a couple of emails here. What do you need? Is it the internet?
No, it's not.
No.
Move. Okay.
Yeah, but you have to start the streaming again?
No.
I love this because when I was here by myself, and Gary was in Israel, he says, I don't understand why you guys always mess up. And right?
Yeah.
Your OBS program, the most amazing program that never crashes. Here it was. Okay. No sound, no this. That's why we love being in our base medrash with our equipment. Okay, Rabbi Sai, dear Belly, it's been a year since I joined the shir in Sukkah, and what a year it's been. I watch you shir daily. Oh yeah, I can't read this. Could you move this over a little bit, please? This is cut off. I can't put into words the impact it's had on me and my family. My daughters often compete against each other. I'm reading this because this is somebody from this neighborhood. Maybe he's sitting here in the room. My daughters are going to compete against each other. Who does the best good morning Rabbi? Attaches a letter my daughter wrote to you a few weeks ago. I'll transcribe it in case you have a hard time reading it. She's 8.5 years old. Dear Rav Eli, by Yehuda's Bracha singer, Inwood, New York. I'm an 8.5-year-old who loves learning about the 5 towns lady. Thank you for everything you do. When you're learning the daf, can you say that you're learning Leilu Nishmas Rabbi Yehuda Aryeh Leib ben Rabbi Yisrael Dov? I did not sponsor, but can you do it for free? He's my Zaidi who was nifted during Corona. Yehuda's Bracha singer, Inwood, New York. The Shloime should have an Aliyah. Do we know these people? Yisrael singer, anybody? By Adam, how do you pronounce this? Ohayyon. Ohayyon? And Mayor Planka from Toronto prayed for Rebbe Eli's success with MDY and especially for his North America tour. Looking forward to seeing him in Toronto for the Siyum. Here they are. By Usher Coleman. Here's a nice story. I usually learn the daf on my own, but I had a long plane trip and unfortunately I can never learn on the plane. The idea of listening to shir to help hit me, and so I downloaded a few episodes. Wow, it's episodes now. Of the world's most these binging episodes of the world's most famous daf shir. It was such a pleasure in Kiddush Hashem. I would have enjoyed every minute if Gary, this way, please. No, you're in the picture. Thank you. Okay, so just that way. What about Zoom? Okay, should we start the horse? I think we start off on a rough patch here. Yeah, it's okay. So fine, sit down. I was so stressed about missing my connection to San Francisco, spending the night in Montreal because our flight was 3 hours late. I'm reading this because almost everybody that's flying now knows about these delays and the cancellations. Then it hit me. I pledged to donate to MDY in the hope that somehow in the zechus that we would make it. And we did. Rabbi said, you hear that? You have to, new segula. You donate to MDY. The connecting flight was delayed 2 hours and we made it in the nick of time. This is all very nice, but the true Kiddush Hashem is that the enthusiasm, the shmak of the Olam and the Talmud Torah, the Rabbim, thank you, Rav Eli, and all you're creating this beautiful thing. Now I want to share with you a great story. I didn't say this last night. If you had a screen over here, you'd be able to see. Here's my ticket to Baltimore yesterday. It's on the screen, and you can look at it later. I show up at the airport yesterday, all excited, going to Baltimore. I asked her, my bag is 2 pounds overweight. Is it okay? She said, it's okay, but you have other problems. I said, what? She goes, you're 2 weeks early. Not kidding. That's problem one. Problem number two, that the flight you want to be on is all sold out. There's not a single spot left. And I'm thinking to myself, I should have listened officially. Said, why don't you make a couple of tickets and different airlines just in case one fails? I said, no. And this is a ticket I made while I was learning. It serves me right. I was learning the day before, and I was like, oops, I have to go to Baltimore tomorrow. Oh, this looks great. Boom, boom. And then she says, you know what? There's one spot available. There was one spot in the entire, I thought it was a tremendous hashgacha process. The wrong week, I was 2 weeks away, and I was wondering why it was $109 to Baltimore. It's a great deal. It ended up costing close to $400. But Baruch Hashem, I made it. So, hashgacha brought us. And here, just one last one. Just came to see you and say hi and have a karsat toiv. Last night, this woman came. She said she's related to me, and she gave me a beautiful thing. First of all, a picture of my mother with my mother's handwriting on the back, but also my bar mitzvah invitation, which I don't have, with my mother's handwriting addressed to her. So I thank her very much for Rabbim. Your mother with a note. Chizuk, they give us day in, day out. It's not about the Yomi. It's not about the Daf. It's about the Yomi. Rebbe, you make a difference in my life as well and countless others. The feeling I have is not easy to describe in words. Let's just say this is her son-in-law talking. I wasn't a learner. Now I've been learning every day since Megillah. Beautiful. I looked at the calendar and saw I would finish on my birthday. May Hashem continue to grant you much bracha, tzlach, and learning, giving you shmak and learning. My mother-in-law is Rivka Leah Goldman Schwartz. She's the daughter of the famous Rabbi Schwartz from Chicago, who's just after. She said that your mother is like being a sister to her. With sincere gratitude, Eli and Pesach Chaya Brenner, Baltimore. All right, I think this is it for today. No, there's more. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this a different time. Rabbi Tzvi, the Koilo, a sponsor, Leilu Nishmas ben Moshie. But the Lock and Lebovic family is Lakewood NJ because Torah is the best segula. Refuah Shilayma for Yochebed Abiya Bashifur Chaya. The MDY Family, Nishmas, Shimshon, Weiss, Shimshon ben Meshulam Dov. As the zechus for our children to be kadosh, safe, healthy, happy, and know Hashem loves them. By Nisim Akilov, in honor of you, Rav Eli, for being number one. Yishkaya. I should be zoucha to nachas dekdusha and tremendous success in my new business. Amen. In honor of Shloime Adler of Golders Green, completing his first masechta with MDY. London is so proud of you, Shloime. Once again, a tremendous yeshakayach to Moshie Horn for hosting us. And we want to give a Refuah Shilayma to Golda, Bas, Bracha, Freda, Woody's daughter. We have Woody. I had the zechus of meeting the Kale twins here, or one of them at least. All right, here we go. This is a very emotional daf. It is the final daf of Masechta Yevamos. I know a lot of us struggled with Yevamos, including myself. It wasn't the easy masechta, most likely the hardest masechta in Shas for many, many of us. And here it is, the final daf. We're holding Kuf Aleph, Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. And again, it's lighter sugyas, lighter gemaras. We're talking about ne'emanos. Who's believed to say that somebody died? Can we trust a non-Jew? Can we trust a woman? We learned that certain women we can't trust, especially a mother-in-law. Seriously. Different women, especially a co-wife, they have different intentions. But in general, we're going to see, we could trust to the point, because we're dealing with agunas, the Torah, the Chachamim don't want these women to be stuck for the rest of their lives. We'll trust even, I'll give it away, a baskol, a voice without a human being behind it. You heard a sound, you heard a voice, somebody said, so-and-so died. There was a non-Jew that told a Jew. Now we'll see, a guy in general might have different ideas why he would be saying different things. But certain times you can trust a non-Jew. I want you to be over in an Isidor Raisa of Kaitzer to cut the wheat, the aspasta, the fodder for the behema on Shabbos. And if you don't cut it on Shabbos, you're not machal Shabbos, I will kill you, like I killed that other Jew. Yeah? You remember your neighbor? He disappeared a few months ago. You don't know where he is? I killed him. Why did I kill him? I told him, cook something on Shabbos, and he didn't cook it on Shabbos, and I killed him. Rabbi Isai, if a guy comes over to you and says, Be Mechal Shabbos or I'll kill you, what do? You're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos. So perhaps this Jew, if the story actually happened, maybe he didn't know the halacha. He gave away his life. Shloike halacha. If it happened. Shama Devisu, now that woman who her husband disappeared months ago, here's this crazy story that a guy admits to killing her husband. And she came to Abaya. Shehita klasi rigle. They waited for Yontif or for different times that the Talmid Chachamim get together when they come to Darshan in Halachas. There's a story about Reb Bloch, the late Rosh Hashiva from Telz, from Europe, talking about 100 years ago. He never went to weddings. He had a minhag, he wouldn't go to weddings. He didn't have time for it. I'm nispal when I see like a chashav gadol like Chaim Kanevsky coming to a wedding. How does he have time for it? To get into a car and drive, it's hard. He has to do all this. I don't know how they did it. I mean, I know he was learning the whole time to go in and then dance and one after another and a simcha and fine. He didn't go to weddings, and they saw him at a wedding. They said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I was very bothered by a certain sugya, and I figured that if I go to this wedding, there's going to be G'dayla Adar there that I could discuss the sugya with. So that's the same idea over here. Let's go and let's wait for the G'daylim to gather, and let's ask them, can you get married based on a testimony of a guy threatening a Jew? I'm going to kill you like I killed that other Jew. No. I mean, if we heard a guy say that, we might think to ourselves that he's bluffing. He's just threatening the guy. He's not really admitting to it. Is that considered Masech Lefitumai? Rav Yosef, the Charev Sakina. Rav Yosef is a sharp knife. Yeah, is that how they say it in English also? He's sharp. He's a sharp knife. It's interesting that in Brachas we learned that Rabba is the sharp one. Rav Yosef is more of the bucky, I guess, but compared to everybody else, he's really sharp. Go ask him. So she went to him and she told him the whole story. So he learned from this Mishnah. You have a guy screaming in the marketplace. Now this shaita, this guy, he thought he was going to fool everybody by saying that these are really fresh, new fruit from a tree that's only 2 years old. Not knowing that a Jew can't eat from a tree that's less than 3 years old. It's arla, also to eat. He's sitting there in the middle of Meisharim screaming away. These fruit are only 2 years old. Shalazekahin. Second Pshat Rashi. Azeka is a city outside of Eretz Yisrael. So, what's going on here? Rashi brings it down over here. Sorry, it's a Azeka Shemeir Shebe Eretz Yisrael. It's really good fruit in Eretz Yisrael. Uperisem Shubachim. Now, he was in Chutz La'aretz and telling people how great the fruit are. They're from Eretz Yisrael. They're from Azeka. Some say that's next to Shechem. There's a Rebbe Mordechai Rachi. I think it was him, maybe some other Shiva like him, but there's let's say it was Rebbe Mordechai. He asked his Talmidim coming in from America, he said, listen, I love oranges, and it's Arla here in Eretz Yisrael. It says it's Shemitah in Eretz Yisrael. I can't really get the oranges. Get me some oranges. We come from Eretz Yisrael, from America, bringing some oranges. So the Bachram, they came and they brought these oranges. And he takes a look at the orange. There's a big sticker on the orange. Produce of Israel. Shkoyach. So he's in Chutz La'aretz telling everybody how this is fruit from Eretz Yisrael, which is no good. It's just the middle Shemitah. Same story. Just in reverse. Shaneta Revayin. These are fruit from the 4th year. So, fruit from the 4th year has different halachas. You can only eat it inside your Shloime. You have to be tar. The fruit is tar. Problematic. Why? Of course, the guy's screaming in the marketplace. He'll say anything that you should buy his product. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's fresh fruit. It's from here. It's anything that you'll buy. So in Mela, the same idea. He was bluffing. He wants this Jew to cut the wheat on Shabbos. So he tells him, listen, I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to do a shilukin on you. Like, you know about the shilukin joke? You should know, Ben. I got a suit from the garage here in Brooklyn, because I'm in like close to Brooklyn. I could say the Mesa. I just said it probably a week ago. And we were coming we got the suit and we're pulling out. Now everybody says the suits, they fall off a truck. I don't know what. It's a crazy neighborhood over there, the Italians. Yeah. So I pulled out and I nicked the guy. Now it's a minhag in Brooklyn as you play, you bump the car in front of you, you bump the car behind. So I just did my minhag, and this guy was not happy. He's like, get over here. And he looks at me, this massive guy with a little guy next to him. He says, hey, Joey, what's the damage? Takes a look. He goes, hey, boss, it's $500. There's nothing. It's like, give me $500. So I don't have $500. Listen, you go home, You give me $500, otherwise I'll do a shilukin on you. I'm like, okay. So I went home and I told my father about this. He said, you better go back and give him $500. They'll come after you. They know where you live. So I gave him, my father, didn't have any money, whatever. He had to go and get the fire. I went back. He says, okay, you're man of honor. You gave me $500. That was it. I took the $500. I didn't even nick his card, nothing, zero. But I didn't want to get a shilukin. I don't know what a shilukin is, but I didn't want to find out. So this guy said, I'm going to do a shilukin on you. If you don't cut the wheat, I'm going to do a shilukin on you. But he was messy. He was just fooling him. He was never happy. All right, next Maisa. There's a story about a Jew and non-Jew. They were going on the far on a trip. And when the guy got back, he said, oh, what a shame. He's a really good guy, that guy. Now, he didn't assume that he's dead. Sometimes you see a guy getting attacked by a lion, by soldiers. I buried him. There's nothing stronger than he's 100% dead. They said that's enough of testimony to say that his wife could get married. Another story, there's a bunch of people together, says Rashi. Some say koiler means that they were chained together, the koiler, because a lot of times we have Gemara, it's like he was yoitz of a koiler. They were bringing him to his death. So sometimes they were chained together. The bottom line is a group of people. The Achronim say that each story has a bigger chiddush than the one before. So over here, sometimes it's a lot of people. You think, people would know about it, hear about it. No, nobody heard about it. And the guys believed. I trust them all. And they married off all the wives. There were 60 people. I had to bury all of them. The Kitzer, if the guy didn't intend to testify, he's not coming to be matter women. He said, it's a terrible story. You're not going to believe what happened. All these people died and I buried all. So based on how he says it and to who he says it, we could trust him and we can marry off the wives. The official Mishnah is sponsored by the MDY Tehillim group, where we daven for Refuah Yeshuas, MDYTehillim.com. So typically, when we're learning Psachim, what's the best way to do B'dikas Chametz? La'ar haner. Now, in nowadays, a lot of people say it's not as good as a flashlight, but there's many people that are makbid just with the ner, and some people do the ner in the beginning, and they flip over to the flashlight. My father, after burning down our house on East 13th Street, he does flashlight only. Well, not literally burnt it down, but he burnt it enough that we couldn't live there for a long time. So now we're telling you the kulos. You could marry off women based on, you saw the body, it was a candle. It was a little bit of the moon. Us city folks don't even know what the moon could produce. It does produce some light. This baskal l'chayra, there's a little bit of an either what it means. Is it a heavenly voice, or it's like a strong, somebody yelled out, so and so died. L'chayra, it's not so much heavenly as much as it is a voice that you don't even know where it emanates from. There's somebody standing far away on a mountaintop, and he said, Ish pleni ben pleni b'makom pleni meis. He described the person, he said he's dead. He's on top of, what's that mountain that everybody climbs and they die? Everest, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the percentage, but a nice percentage don't make it to the top, and they find these bodies every once in a while. Here, so he's standing on top of Everest. So-and-so's dead. Here he is. He's dead. Okay, fine. They go, who screamed out? They climb to the top of the mountain. Nobody's there. Nevertheless, they married off the wife. This Tzalmoin. This is an Eretz Yisrael song, Tzalmoin. Ani ish ploni ben ish ploni nishchani nochosh varei ani meis. A guy screaming in pain. I just got bit by a snake. I know the snake. This is not a good one. I'm not going to make it. I don't have an antidote. I'm dead meat. However, Tell my wife that I'm dead and she doesn't have to be in Aguna. The Achronim explained they couldn't recognize his face because of the bite from the snake. And they married off his wife. The same. So now the Gemara is just going to repeat what we already had. Bishamai argue on the mission. They say we can't trust a voice. You need to see the person testifying. Or now we pass like Visila, like the Mishnah. My Kamashma, Masnisani, it's our Mishnah. That's an anonymous Mishnah. We pass like Visila. Hakamashma, the Mishtachas Stama. They must see, and if you're going to find some sort of Bryce or something, you should know Beishamai. We don't pass like Beishamai. Somebody screamed on the mountaintop, they couldn't find it. Interesting. How can we trust a voice? Maybe it's a shed. Now, in those days, they used to live with shadim. It was a big, common thing, shadim. What's a shade? The little that we see from Gemara is shadim. They look basically like human beings. They were a creature that was created, that got stuck. They're human beings that got stuck at Sheshis Mebreshis at the cutoff line. So they have a lot of characteristics of human beings. They actually have relations with each other. They have children and they die. But they could be invisible and they could sneak in through different holes and stuff like that. But they look like humans and they're a bunch of liars. We see this from different sugyas. So they could try to fool people. They'll say, they'll scream a baskol, why not? Mess with the human beings. Practical joke or something. Yeah, so-and-so died. And now the woman goes and gets married. So, ask the Gemara, if you don't see a human being and you can't interview him, you can't interrogate him, how do you know it's not a shed? Or Rabbi Eli, because it looked like a human being. Says the Gemara, they also they look like human beings. You ever have like at work some real messed up person that messes with your life and you hate his guts? He's probably in a shed or something. You see, like he has a shadow. Says the Gemara, they also have shadows. The nobody could. You can't really understand what this means. There's a very heavy shadow and a lighter shadow, similar to like those people that say that NASA never landed on the moon because the shadow is to this, and they have a whole Torah in the shadows. I don't understand anything about shadows. There's something about the sun. I never tried it out. There's the closer shadow and the further shadow. Shadim don't have those two shadows. We once learned also in Harius that if a person doesn't see his double shadow during Aser Simei Tshuva, it's not a good sign. It's a sign he's not going to make the year. So don't, maybe during Aser Simei Tshuva, don't check out the shadows, whatever. Okay. I'm not a maven in the shadows. Whatever it means, they were able to tell that he's not a shed. But Dilma, now the Gemara says, you know what's worse than a shade? Sarah have it. Maybe it's the co-wife. So Rashi says that maybe it's a woman that this guy married that nobody knows about. Not like a known side wife. Like he had somebody that nobody ever heard about. So you can never know. You can't interview his wife, his second wife, his third wife, because maybe it's a fourth wife that we don't know about. And as we learned, co-wives, figures, they're all no good. We can't trust them. So maybe here you have a co-wife who's so jealous that her husband spends more time with the other co-wife. So she wants to mess up the co-wife and she's screaming from the mountaintop, hey, so-and-so died, knowing the halacha that we could trust the baskol. Then she disappears. They go up to the mountaintop, nobody's there. And the co-wife that she hates is going to marry another man, and because she didn't do enough research, we're going to tell her she has to get divorced from that other man, and she's going to have her husband all for herself. Maybe it's the co. We're talking about a time of a sakana, and therefore the halachas change. We give, we do certain things without the typical protocol, and over here we're going to believe this baskol, even though it might be the tzara. Another Mishnah, official Mishnah, sponsored by the MDY Tehillim group, where they daven for refuahs, like that child that we just down for. What's her name? Bracha. What's her name? That we just said right before she. Oh yeah, there's at least 3. Golda, Bracha, Bas Freda. Oh, Golda Bas Bracha Freda. 4 Shloime. Omar Rebbe Akiva Kishiratin Lenarda. Rabbi said we had this story, Mamish, the other day, but it's a Mishnah. That Rebbe Akiva, who could do Iber Yar, who could add a 13th month a year? Only a Bezdin, and they do it in Israel. But if there's a Sakana, the Goyim don't allow it, so they take the Galadar. We know that Rebbe Akiva was probably right up there as the greatest Jews that ever lived. So certainly in his generation, the Gemara says he was like Moshie Rabbeinu couldn't believe that Moshie Rabbeinu was Moshie Rabbeinu. Because Baruch should have given it to Rebbe Akiva. So Rebbe Akiva certainly had the unanimous vote that he's the Galadar. He went to Chutz La'aretz and he made the extra month for the year. Ibru Shana. I found Nehemiah, the house of a pail. I don't know. I looked on Google. I looked for a nice picture of a pail house. I couldn't find one, unfortunately. I heard that even one aid, forget it, we're saying baskals and all these things. Even a male, one guy is not believed. But Yehuda ben Bava said it's okay. And I answered him, it's true, says Rabbi Akiva. Amar Lohem B'Shmi says, Nehemiah is based Dli. I believe he's the only time in Shas right here. I heard from Gamliel Azakin that you could trust a maid. And Rabbi Gamliel, the grandson of Rabbi Gamliel Azakin, is very happy. It seems like he didn't know that his grandfather says, they say because it's before the Churban, after the Churban, there was a disconnect between the grandson and the grandfather. And as they were talking, he remembered that there was a killing in Tel Arza. And in fact, Gamliel Zaken married off their wives based on the testimony of a single aid. And from then on, we decided Masian aid mipi aid. We could even use testimony one aid that heard from another aid mipi evet, even from a slave mipi isha, even from a woman mipi shivcha. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shloime aid Masian isha al pi decha. No, you can't use the aid decha. Rabbi Akiva Omer lo yapi isha, lo yapi evet, lo yapi shivcha. It's interesting. Also, Rabbi Akiva does a 180. Seems like he says you cannot use a woman, you can't use a Eved, but it seems like you could use a Idechad. Says Gemara, what he says, you can't use the testimony of a woman. Rabbi Akiva says, a woman can bring her own get, and we said this the other day also, because it's not really her testimony, it's the get itself. A woman who is not believed, he says, a woman is not believed. What woman? About herself. She's not believed that her husband died, but in MNS. So Mela, sorry, where am I? If a woman is not believed to say that her husband died, she's believed to say to bring her own get. So l'chayra, the Gemara says, we're only saying the 5 women that we enumerated in the Mishnah, a mother-in-law, a co-wife, the daughter, but everybody else, all other women do have an emunah. So why are you telling me in the name of Rebbe? The Mishnah says, Rebbe says, women are not believed. There's different kufas in Klal Yisrael. Now we're talking about that it's after when we started believing women testifying about other women's husbands dying. Now we do believe. The official Mishnah, Amrullah. There were Levim that went to this place called Irat Tamar. One of them got sick, and they brought him into the hotel. They said, you know what? Mom is good friends. Here, rest up over here. The situation is not going to get better. We can't help you really. Have a nice rest over here. We'll be back to pick up the body a little later. Have a good night. Now they come back and they tell the inn owner, where's our friend that we left there? He's like, he's on his way out, but where is he now? Numas lahem. So she tells them, Mace, he's dead. What do you think is going to happen to him? He's dead. Ukvartiv. And I buried him. Now some people want a taina that, you know, if you have a hotel, the best way to make money if you have a hotel is to put kibri tzadikim right there by the lobby, you know? Fine. So she says, he's dead. I buried him right outside. And based on her testimony, the Gemara going to say she was a non-Jew. She said he died, so we trust her. V'isiu es ishtar. Why? Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, v'loisia kohenes kipundikis. A woman, a kohen, any Jew, but even a kohenes, like the top level Jew. How do we describe a top level Jew? We know Rebbetzins, but in terms of yichus, you have a woman who's a kohen, she's a daughter of a kohen. You're going to tell me that a guy is believed more than a kohenes? That doesn't make sense. So it happens to be that this is like a sprach. People say this all the time. Like, people will tell koil guys in Eretz Yisrael, when they want to shtach a koil guy, they say, Loitia kohenes kepundikis. If you're in koil, you're a kohenes, you shouldn't be any less than a pundikis. You shouldn't be any less than a guy that goes to work. How come every guy that goes to work, he's out the door by 7 o'clock, he gets to work at 7:30 to beat the traffic, and you koil guy, you show up at 9:30. It's a pasnish. It's like a shtach to the thing. But the Chavetz Chaim, he brings this Gemara also, and he says there was a bacher that came to him, and he said, "Nu, what do you learn?" And it's unbelievable that he talks about this because I hear this all the time. And the guy says, "I don't learn much." He says, "Why not?" So he says, "Because I'm used to learning Rebbe Naftali. I learned in yeshivas. I learned lumdus. I learned, this is an old taina of guys, and people say this. Why don't you learn the daf? I learned lumdus. My head is a lumdus. We talk about it all the time. That's what they taught us in yeshiva. You have to learn deep and this and that." So he told them, "Latia kohenes kepundikis. The least you could do is learn some Torah every day, a little bit. So you're not. But the kohenes, you're a guy that learned in yeshivas. Certainly, you should learn a little bit of Torah." And he gave him a mashal. He said there was a guy that went into the Heisa mikvah, and this he brings in Shmir Salasham, the Chavetz Chaim. The mashal, you can look it up over there. It says a guy went into a very, very hot mikvah, and it wasn't good for him. He felt that he's going to pass out and die. So he started screaming, give me a kalta mikvah, put my body in a cold mikvah. And the guy said, "I don't have a cold mikvah, but I'll bring a pail of cold water and pour you." He said, "No, I need a cold mikvah." So the Chavetz Chaim said, "Look, the guy is on his way out. He's dying. He got burnt. He's literally passing out. She's not going to take a cup of water and a pail of water? No, only the whole mikvah." And that was his mashal. The only way you can learn is if you're going to learn lumdus, and that's the best way to learn, and that's the only way to learn. And if you don't have that, you're not going to take anything. If this is what we have Daf Yomi, we're balabatim, and this is what we have, we got chaparayim. We can't just say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do anything." You can't have the all or nothing attitude. So his taina is, you're telling me you can't trust the woman, but you can trust the guy. So he said, if a Jew is as as the pundikis, then we'll trust. Then why? She didn't just say he's dead and I buried him. She has good proof. Here's his walking stick. Here's his knapsack. And here's his Sefer Torah. Yes, Sefer Torah should be Adai. So now I can believe her. Now I trust her. That he's dead. If he didn't die from every disease, maybe she killed him, but he's dead. He's dead and she buried him. Oh, Rabbi Sai, we should say this together. Daf Kuf Chav Beis Amud Beis. Sponsored by Moshie Horn. Moshie, come here, Moshie. Where are you? Get over here. Come, get over. Doyle wants to know what you look like. Sponsored by Moshie Horn in honor of Rabbi Tzvi Medetsky. We have Rabbi Tzvi Medetsky. Get over here. Come, Rabbi Tzvi. No, come ahead. Wow, here, let's see if you get in there. This is this way. No, this way. How you doing? Shalom Aleichem. Yishkoyach. Yishkoyach for everything. And this is the guy that says he's better than me in basketball? Come, show me one minute.
Hello.
Hi, let me see, I would stand up and I'll be out of the picture. Yishkoyach. I heard you taka the best. As I said, well, there's another guy. That's okay. One of the best. It's a big thing. You took that basketball skills that you have, and now you're Rebbe in yeshiva. Where?
Darkei Torah.
Darkei.
Your alma mater.
You went to Darkei also?
No.
What grade?
I teach 6th grade.
Wow. Okay. Kol hakavod. Does it help you that you used to play ball? You tell the kids, you trash talk them the whole thing.
I teach 6th grade because I can still beat them if I talk.
If you didn't hear, he said he teaches 6th grade because he could still beat them. Okay, Givaldi. Oh, that's somebody else doing it. Okay. Says the Gemara, my gurus to the Pundikis. Why are they saying that the Pundikis, that the Kohenes is greater than the Pundikis from the innkeeper? Says the Gemara, Rav Kahana, Pundikis Evensky Chavim. We're talking about a non-Jew. So of course a Jew should be more believed. She was just schmoozing, shooting the breeze, and in her schmooze, she mentioned that the guy is dead. Here's his stick, there's a tarmilov, there's a kevish kevarti boy, and you want to see his grave, here it is. Says the Gemara, what do you mean she was B'siach L'Ketuma? She just happened to be schmoozing. The Mishnah says, they asked her, where is the guy? They started the conversation. Says the Gemara, what happened was, when they showed up, she started crying. She was crying that he's dead. And then they said, they started the conversation after they saw that she was crying. There's a man that came to testify. Tell me what happened. How do you know that this husband died and this woman is permitted to get married? Omar, we were walking, we're on the way. And the soldiers, the enemy started chasing us. He jumped onto a tree and he ripped off a branch. He took the branch. In those days, no guns, no machine guns, no tanks, just a branch, a stick. He chased away the enemy. Amarti loy, Aryeh, you're a lion. Yishar koichacha. Yishkoyach, you saved my life. Amarli, so the branch chaser guy says, how do you know my name is Aryeh? That's my nickname. My name is Yochanan, the son of Yochanan. Aryeh. My name is, they call me the lion in Kfar Shichya. It's not the first time I took a stick and I beat people up. And then he continues his testimony. He says, so in his testimony, he threw out his name, his nickname, everything. Based on that, Reb Tarfon married off the wife. As the Gemara of Reb Tarfon, how come we didn't cross-examine him? Here we go. Mamish, the same story. A guy came to testify. How do you know? Tell me what's going on here. We were going on the way. And the soldiers started chasing us. See, this is a little different. Before it was an olive tree. This is a fig tree. He ripped off a branch. For saving me. The other story, there's a variation in language here. The other story says, how do you know my name is Aryeh? Oyer says, wow, you're mechamed to my name. Shekach koren oisi be'iri yoichanan ben yoidasan Aryeh de mikvar shichyon. The Yom Chol of a maze, and it continues, he died. Yoichanan ben yoidasan tried to trip him up. Rebbe Tarfon tried to trip him up. He tried to flip his name around. Sounds very, very similar. Yoichanan ben yoidasan, the mikvar shichyon Aryeh. Now I'm just remembering, I forgot where it was, a few times in Shas. Every time it says Yochanan, it's Yonason, the names are interchangeable. So you try to see, is he really good with the names? They just make it up on the spot. Yochanan ben Yonason Aryeh. He took out the word Aryeh, now he stuck it in. And he tried to say, come back. Get him from here, from there. Vekivin as Dvarav, and he was always saying it the right way. That his name is Yochanan, and Yonason, Aryeh, and Kashichya. Okay. Anyway, you see, they're supposed to cross-examine, try to trip him up. Don't let him just say one testimony and finish. Says Gemara Tanoi. In fact, it's Machlokes Tanoi. You don't have to do cross-examination. We come in together with Rechanino, Dvar Torah, Echad Dinim Aminos, Echad Dinim Nefashis, B'drishu Chakira. You need to interview the witnesses and see, are they saying the truth? Shenemar Mishpat Echad Yelachem. When Tamamro Dinim Aminos Ein Tzrichim Drishu Chakira. Why do they say that you don't really have to go and interview and go back? Imagine if you every time you lent money to somebody, the witnesses are going to get interrogated, and many times after you interrogate witnesses, you can trip them up, and you passel the eidos. Nobody's going to lend money. Oh, you're eidim hasheker. So, in order that people should lend money, they did away with this whole interrogation. Rabbi Sai, it's unbelievable. I know we made it. Remember, Ksubis is going to be Geshmak. If you fell out during Yevamos, now's the time to chaperine. Don't try to make up Yevamos. Chaperine, jump into Ksubis. It's going to be an amazing journey. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for having me here in the 5 towns. It's always Givaldic. Great day. Shloime.